Oops, I'm not even muted. Well, we'll see how it goes. Hi. I'm stuck on the freeway with my car broken down. Whoops, can't hear myself. Hello, Ron.
Hi, Fleming. There
Hey.
you are.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. My volume is down. Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. I can hardly hear myself, but my headphones are really tight. I have a rather unusual setting for my meeting today. I'm stuck on the freeway waiting for a tow truck here.
That's awfully dramatic.
That's very dramatic. That's the lengths I go to make sure the meeting is interesting and I have a good background. So my clutch just went. So so it just suddenly wouldn't move. So I couldn't change the gears or anything. Anyway, that's what happens. But luckily, I have my family with me, so they'll probably handle the tow truck at the same time. We'll see what happens.
I was wondering what would happen. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a little unusual. This is sort of a, oh, hi, Nadia. You can wave hi. And there's my son's sack there. I don't know where they're gonna put us when they tow the car. This is like the freeways. Most of the bigger freeways are privatized here, so one pays toll to go on them. But that also means they're well organized. When something happens, they have personnel ready to take care of it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll see what happens. Anyway, we're waiting for a bunch of other people, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm going to succeed in being online all the time. Right now, my connection is good, but there's no guarantee that that's going to keep working. So we'll see. Okay. Hi, Hannah-Lee. Do you hear us? And this is Doug. And as I was just mentioning to Ron, I make sure to make it interesting to have a good meeting. I make sure to have something a little bit dramatic happening. So I'm here waiting for my car to be towed away in the background because it broke down on the freeway. Luckily, I have my family with me, but there's no guarantee I'm gonna like be paying attention all the time. But that's part of the exercise. It's the clutch suddenly didn't work. Luckily, it was at a toll booth where there was like people and stuff. So it will probably be all right. So how are you guys?
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's how it goes sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Gina. So now the experiment, the exercise this day is called spoken word, it was Letitia who suggested it at some point. And I've tried to leave you with some instructions and some example videos, but otherwise, some of you probably already know what it is. But the idea with spoken word is it could take many forms. It could be a poem, a little speech. It could be a rap, a song, a little sort of happening of some kind. But it's basically that one pays more close attention to how one uses one's voice and one's words, like kind of making it more sacred, where it's not just you're sort of blabbering away, trying to find something to say, but that you really say it as if it really means something. And I haven't done that before, so I don't know exactly how that's going to work, but we'll give it a shot. Where do we go? Hold on. I just need to take care of my throat. I'll be right back.
That was fun.
His car is getting towed away.
All right. So anyway, so did I might lose connection at some point. As you can see, I'm getting my car towed away on the freeway. Anyway, is the experiment relatively clear for you guys? Does it seem weird, scary, unusual? Well, why don't I start, let's say, until I get dragged into the car there. So I'll do my little piece. Now, I had made plans for this. I had tried to make this meeting work really well. I have notes in my pocket of the things I was planning to do. And I tried to leave clear instructions for everybody so everybody would know what to do. And I tried to control all aspects of it. But still strangely, it doesn't happen the way I planned it. And in the back. And life is sometimes like that. You make the best plans, you plan it really carefully, you try to make sure all the conditions are perfect, you line everything up, still something happens, as you can see, and I find it difficult, but I'm pretty sure there's a lesson there somewhere about letting go and letting life take you along, going with what happens, even if it's messy and noisy and you don't really know where you're going. So I tried to control things. I tried to make it really nice and orderly, but I failed, and maybe it ends up being a good thing. So there you go. Thank you for listening. That's my first piece.
Fleming, and everyone, I want to connect to what you just shared about plans not working out and being in flow with life. And what came up for me this week was conscious direction versus this planned rushness of lots of activities that must work out according to in a specific way. And then we get all disturbed by it. And it breaks our flow because it didn't work out. So I haven't prepared anything for today. I usually don't, because I prefer the spontaneity to flow by itself. And you so beautifully now created the context for me to share about things that came up for me this week. In terms of conscious direction with an intention versus a plan with all specific milestones. And then we devastated, and I went through it myself this week. We had all these plans. And then somebody just made a very interesting comment on Facebook. And I don't know why, but somewhere they triggered something deep within me. And it derailed me for 2 days, which was totally ridiculous if I now look back at it. But it's because it derailed my plans, which I had. So my plans didn't work out either. But the beauty part of it is that I could see now why it happened. Because in myself, there was this part that I needed to take care of. Why did I overreact like that? It's such a silly thing. And so there was this gift in it for me as well. And I'm living here next to the river at the moment. And every day when I walk down the river, I just let my body float in my imagination, with my sensory imagination, on the water to come back into flow. And it took me literally 30 minutes walking down the river to come back to where I was before this plan didn't work out. But now I can proceed from a different level and being more present to what's happening to me as well and what's happening to around me. So from perspective, I can now even feel it in my throat that more truth will be revealed if I'm just going back into the flow. And that's my part for now. Thank you. I'm complete. Gina, you're muted.
I know, but that's because I'm actually not trying to talk. I know I'm looking down. I'm probably talking to myself at the moment. I'll just say hi. I'm outside in my smoky backyard, so you can't see how beautiful my view normally is, because what you see in the reflection behind me is the smoke of British Columbia burning. So we've gone from beautiful British Columbia to burning British Columbia. And I have something I'd like to share, but I'll just say that in terms of plans, we were supposed to be in Vancouver and sailing on Sunday, and it just was going to be terrible because all the smoke was going to Vancouver. So huge disappointment not getting to Vancouver, and then sailing down the west coast of the United States. But actually, it was a great week to be home. And, you know, I have to be grateful my house isn't on fire. So a little bit of gratitude, a little bit of, oh, well, next time we can try this is probably September. So, but meanwhile, I'm going to go digging for something. So.
I did have some plans, and it seems like I can go ahead and go through with it in spite of all plans changing today. But we'll see what happens in the next minute or two. Maybe everything will change. There's a piece called Shadow Times that was originally published in the Scenius blog, Scenius with 2 E's, and it's been edited for spoken word performance. Shadow Times. Viewed from Earth, the movements of planets and spacecraft can be seen in the night sky against the familiar constellations of stars. But in the daytime, the sun washes the stars from sight and hides its path across the now invisible sky map. Now the sun's path can only be inferred, not seen. There is a special time, though, when the sun's position in its path can be seen directly against a background map of stars, planets, and celestial bodies. That is, when it is viewed from within moon shadow during a total solar eclipse. In unfolding human events also, there are times when what can usually only be inferred can now be seen. During shadow times, emanations of meaning and power are made visible, and their current relationship to the background is revealed. This fleeting view of usually hidden societal dynamics is a snapshot of social evolution. In times of social eclipse, as events begin to move into shadow, there is first a tingle of electricity in the air, then a gathering frisson, a thrill of excitement in the brain stem, in the heart, and then, as the culmination of darkness nears, whoops of surprise and recognition. Then, the light is quenched, the land is dark, stillness descends, and the unveiled night sky reveals what was hidden. For moments, in silence, meanings are made clear. The celestial players take their places in the firmament. As they love, they gravitate. Then in the pattern of their movements, in constellations of meaning and power, a pattern signifying the revealed state of their dynamic network of relationships. Immanent reality is manifest. Immanent reality is manifest. Moments pass. Light comes, rushing across the land. The totality of eclipse has ended.
Well, that was just incredibly beautiful, Ron. Thank you so much for sharing that. And the interesting thing about the light and the dark and the reveal and the non-reveal is that actually showed up, I think, within the past week for me too, because we have a lot of native things here, about the stars disappearing at night and different things being revealed. And I'm like, so I find it really interesting. As soon as you said that, I went, yes, of course, that's what I heard too. But it was a really beautiful thing, because I think sometimes we feel like we live in the darkness, and particularly with some of the natural disasters and then the political disasters and social disasters. But there is always something else out there that we're not seeing when we see the darkness. And it's just there. And I love this view of manifesting. It's beautiful. So thank you.
Thank you. It's kind of amazing, as now that you mention it again, that you're in partial eclipse right now, and it's obscuring your normal view of your landscape.
Thank you, Ron. That was most beautiful. And the words that stuck with me was inferred. And I'm just trying to feel in my body. And it's also synchronicity because I was just earlier making a short little 3-minute video about the seen and the unseen, that which is visible and not visible. So there's this link of synchronicity here as well. Thank you for that. And I remember I've got this on my chair next to me, also very synchronistic. I don't know what reason for, and now I know why. And it's called Hidden Treasures of the Inner Garden. And I just opened it up, and it's on this beautiful poem of Rumi, and I'll just read it out now. I have come to drag you out of yourself and take you into my heart. I have come to bring out the beauty you never knew you had, and lift you like a prayer to the sky. If no one can recognize you, I do, because you are my life and my soul. Don't run away, accept your wounds, and let bravery be your shield. Every step of the way, I will walk with you and never leave you stranded.
So just a little one in there. Thank you, Hanali. I just finished one of those 21-day meditations with Deepak and Oprah, and it was all about the desire and the self and the accessing the true self and all these great things and law of attraction. And because I was thinking that we had to bring words, planning, to this, the one that stuck me with was a Sanskrit mantra, which was Aham Rahashmi, which means I am the universe. And of the 21 days, that's the one that stayed with me because it really speaks to the connectiveness, the good, the bad, the ugly, the messy, the dirty, the planned, the well done, the seen, the unseen, the light, the dark. We are all of those things, and we're all of those things together. So that was my takeaway phrase for last week. But I loved your poem. It was gorgeous too. Thank you.
Doug, you're muted.
So I guess I'm next up since everybody's contributed. What I'd like to share is a poem of mine from 2005. And it's called The Here and Now. In the present, less the tick, less the did, less the talk, less things hid. In the now, minus the how, minus the where, minus the when, minus the fair. In the instant, nothing extant, nothing implied, nothing held in, nothing decried. Here, now, I.
No, I never do. No, my mom doesn't.
It is funny how, as you do, Hanali, you get with these words that are being spoken so far, a very physical, for me, a very physical reaction that it's just like you're penetrating me. And it's just like, oh, I recognize this. I recognize this as a truth, or I recognize this as a deeper meaning for me. And it just goes whoosh like this. So that was very beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. That was most beautiful as well. And thank you, Gina. It's a few words that has so much meaning for me personally. And I would like, it triggered something for me to share with you, a poem of my own that I've written a few years ago. And I'll just quickly get it for you. It's called Be. Be is such a simple two-letter word, yet so misunderstood and feared, as it asks nothing from you, and you have been conditioned to want, without realizing that want is the disconnection from be. Be contains it all, was, is, and will forever. Be has no need or want. It's all encompassing. Allow yourself to be immersed in the depths of be, which has no end nor beginning. And you shall experience, as you fall deeper and deeper into your glorious fullness, the pure bliss of being, which draws to you magnanimous infinite self, all it requires and desires in each precious moment. Need and wants take you away from your center. You incessantly, nervously, chaotically seek something that you cannot even comprehend. Its voice incomputable, yet so deceiving, as it steals your life force and leads you astray from the very thing you desire, by making you believe you desperately need to find and obtain it externally. And as the clock ticks on, tick-tock, tick-tock, you are getting more neurotic and fragmented. I don't have time. Time is running out. You get trapped in all sorts of abysses and mazes. To get out seems almost impossible. You feel you are drowning in murky waters. The tension in your body quadruples. Anxiety hungrily joins the malicious party. Waters is not on the agenda or menu. For this you need wings and know about it. You cannot see any other possibility. Your windows of perceptions are tainted with dark moss. You crawl and stumble and cannot even walk, paralyzed by a force so remote, yet so deviously intimate, which silently feeds on your energy and every fear-induced thought and feeling. Should you take just a brief moment, a precious moment, in a sea of eternity, to gently take a deep breath, to close your eyes so you can reorientate yourself by turning your attention inwards and let go of all resistance and misguided needs. You will find something ever-essent, yet so tranquil, as you surrender to the know-nothingness that abounds. The cascade waits inside you, ever-present and exuding, untainted, undivided, and total. But you lost connection so long ago that it is a complete foreign concept and a two-letter word that brings you directly to this place, something that your lower mind disputes, as it cannot fit into its archaic filing system. Be. No exhaustive roundabouts, no complex thought viruses to decipher and define, no contraction and inertia. Be. Come back to yourself for one precious moment. In the fullness of time, all time returns. You are and have all that you ever were, are, and will be, all fused, whole, and complete.
It's funny because the things that show up, and I've always had this view that children were born rather perfect because they're born at the ultimate point of just to be, and that somehow through our life experience we sort of break them over time with structured learning or rules, some of which are necessary. But I think it's interesting that when you go back to that being, you are perfect, you are everything you've always been. That's sort of what I picked up from the meditations last week. And it's okay to have been broken or scuffed your knees a few times along the way, because those experiences brought you to who you are today. But focus on who you are. And I think it's amazing how well we're doing at this. Who would have known?
That was a journey, Emily. That was terrific.
Thank you, Dad.
It was so good.
I'm so teary now because it's the first time that I've shared in public like this. It's in one of my poem bundles that I haven't published yet, but thank you for this opportunity to share with you guys in this way. My whole body is tingling now. Thank you.
Hello, Heiner. Fleming is having his car towed and has already spoken his piece earlier.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
I heard only a few glimpses. It was about deep and basic stuff. I think the session you have now is about words and the fundamental and whatever. But I just jumped in very late. Please excuse me.
Gina, you muted
Yeah,
still?
I know, I got it. Sorry, it's hard for me to see. My eyes are a bit watery because of your poem and the smoke. So, and the glare's kind of bad. Okay, so I have a poem that I'd like to read. It is something I didn't write, but it was given to me when I was 16 years old, and it was inside a birthday card. And the words by a great aunt, great aunt, and the words were important enough to me as a 16-year-old girl that I kept the card for a long time. I framed it, but it was one of those things whenever I was confused or discouraged, I would remember phrases of this poem and it would help me. So I will now read it to you because that's what I was looking for before. Okay, so this is by Ralph Waldo Emerson. And it is the words that I've been sort of trying to live by. To laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a better place, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition. To know that one life is breathed easier because you have lived here. This is to have succeeded. That's it.
Another part of the affection of children. It was beautiful.
I'm awed because this citation of Emerson rings what I always cite. It is T.S. Eliot, make words solid, because otherwise they don't spring, they don't dance, they don't laugh. I mean, the poem is much longer. The other, as we seem to be here, a very personal group, I remember a lady writing into my diary when I was 18, maybe 50 years ago. She said, he who thinks that all things ripen at the same time knows nothing about the grapes. She was very special. She was double my age, double her age, was the guy who was picking me up, being a globetrotter somewhere towards the Everglades. But I'm not going to be personal here, but I felt this is a very, very excellent group Fleming is collecting or connecting here.
And Heiner, as you're speaking, I totally agree with what you're saying of the group of people that Fleming is bringing together here. Most special, thank you. Thank you, Fleming. My whole body responds to this. And it's for me when we go beyond the words into the vibration of the voices as well. Personally just speaking, that for me is totally exhilarating. And it's a connection on a very different level from when we just speak about things. And I'm really deeply grateful for that too here. Thank you.
I would love to speak to, I don't know how good my connection is, so it probably will interrupt at some point. Okay, so just another situation report. I'm sitting in my car by the steering wheel. This is my daughter. I'm not driving my car. It's on top of a tow truck. And the tow truck just had to stop to pick up another car. We already were 5 people, which we shuffled into the tow truck's cabin, but it needed to pick up another car and 2 or 3 other people. So it actually stopped and asked us to go back and sit in our car on top of the tow truck, which is towing another car behind us. And we were on our way to the beach in Hendaye, which is a little town which is just before the Spanish border on the Atlantic coast in France, close to Biarritz, which is a big beach and surfing place. And we were sort of halfway there when we were by a toll booth. And now the tow truck actually went all the way to Hendaye, where we were going, in order to turn around and to drive the other way. But overall, it's an interesting, excellent experience. It sucks a little bit when your car breaks down, but no vacation. We could have gone in the water. The waves and the sunset would have been really nice. That's what we were looking forward to, but this is very nice too. And spending this hour with you, sharing deeply felt words while I'm being towed around town in a tow truck is sort of an interesting experience. It could be worse. So I'm quite happy to be here, and back over to you.
Fleming, I don't get you right because maybe I'm alien. You are an intentional member of a tow truck, or is this a new way of transportation that you go long distances in queues like 1,000 leg animals or whatever, caterpillars, who do it really the new way of transportation? So where are you actually? I didn't get you at all.
So physically I'm in southwest France, all the way over by the Atlantic border. I was on my way to the beach, and we are here visiting my son Zachary, who was here a few weeks ago. My daughter Nadia is sitting here next to me, texting, I think, saying hi. You have people to talk to. Well, I have people to talk to. These are my people. So our vacation was a tiny bit messed up, but it's not something to lose any sleep over. But yes, our car broke down and we're a few hours away from home. But we're going to stay here a couple of days anyway, so maybe we'll get it repaired or something. But anyway, there might be some clever metaphors or something in it, like how about we all get a tow truck that will just take us to wherever we need to go, and we can sort of relax and connect and share some deep words while we're going there. So it could work.
It's a good thing we're not competitive, because I think your situation would be tough to arrange and not all that desirable. Things we'll go through. Just have a journey and a plan that didn't work out.
This makes me laugh because with all our exercises with Hot Seat, with Tammy, with the Global Challenges collaboration, I was, after 2 years with Fleming and Tammy, really, really worried. Can we ever meet up virtually? And all this small, sweet talk, nice, being attentive or whatever, is not going to the source. I think we have to see where we failed, if we did get up. What was the challenges of Fleming being towed away, or being in a futuristic exercise of not driving anymore, but maybe 1,000 cars? So you see how I appreciate Fleming is now doing the new way of transportation, at least across Europe. So anyway, I really felt this is a challenge to really talk where we failed, where we stumbled, where we get up, and how can we know about each other. And this was our conversation experiment with Tammy and Fleming in the beginning, to really find out who we really are. And without feel and touch and love and hugging, it is very difficult. And to really, on the surface, on a monitor, to just say, oh, I'm the greatest guy and I have a great project here and whatever, is not really going to the depth. And in group encounters and intentional communities and whatever things I know about eco-spiritual communities, it is very hard to go really to connect with people. And this challenge, I think this is a challenge for you, Fleming, next time, to really take over the hot seat again, to really speak about people from their attention, from their heart, from their feelings, from their challenges and failures, and not what kind of new product or invention or what they would like to sell, or where they need some funding, associates, whatever. Anyway, I'm really depressed here. I had, you see, all my kitchen stuff just dropped down, and I had to cook something new. So I'm in a really emergency situation. But as I've been a fire jumper all my life, like Fleming, I could not resist to pop into your session. What was it about? About words or poets, poems, or whatever?
Spoken word in almost any form. Maybe it was also implied that it's spoken word with just a little something, maybe an element of performance to it, or maybe not. But I guess the best performance is no performance. So, but there's some, or you and Fleming, you used the word sacred. There's supposed to be just a little. The idea was that there's a little something extra to it, and I think it brings out what's personal, and which relates pretty closely to what you were just talking about, Heiner. And I think it also relates to what you said, Hanley and Doug, about how probably I think we all personally face the questions of being, Hanley, and of being in the present, Doug.
That's always the big one. How to stay in that saddle. So I have another.
Here it is again.
I have another offering for you folks. And it's called alignment. First the thought, second the word, then the action. Thought, word, action never results in contraction. Made in God's image, we just like him, hugely powerful, all omnipotent, cast in love, fully integrated, creators one, creators all. Then, disintegrated, hands of mom or dad praise based, you equal your result, ego versus I in the court of self. Thought not equal to word, word not equal to action, results always off by a fraction. Not creating as was intended, all judgment, fear, universe upended. Everything slightly ripely scented. But then, thought again equals word, word equals action, and all is mended.
So I think it's really quite amazing what each person has brought in terms of, given this mission, can you go do this with the word? And yet the words are both about doing and not doing, and being and not being, and light and darkness. And, you know, it's really rather profound to think that we made that effort to find something that spoke to us, that we felt that we could share with other people. And I just find that rather fascinating. And I don't know where it's taking me, but I know that I think about it. And I'm sure that spending some time thinking about, well, what has been with me, and I was toying between the things that sort of pop into my earworm, were this poem, but also The Impossible Dream too, because we've been talking about quests. And I was like, you know, when I think about the chorus to The Impossible Dream, to fight the unbeatable foe, you know, all the things that come with that. And in some ways, that's part of all this too, is that, you know, my heart will be peaceful and rest, you know, because I've done this thing. And it's quite, I don't know, it's very interesting to be having these as the bubble around me in which I'm sort of working and exploring with the world this week. So thanks, everybody. Really appreciate all those wonderful contributions.
When I was trying to prepare for this meeting, not all that successfully, but when I was trying to prepare, I thought about some of the elements that would make spoken word interesting. I mean, it's words. You're talking like you're doing in many other settings, but there's something that makes it different. One thing can be that there's really a feeling there. You're in a feeling of something that you're trying to share, or you are exploring something seemingly in real time. You're discovering slowly an experience, which might be where you're at, it might be your feeling, the way you look at it, but honestly sharing it. And there is finding a rhythm in that. It's very satisfying when there's a bit of rhythm. Like we love when maybe something comes back or is repeated, and there's a theme that sort of gets nicely wound up. And it's not about being clever, but it's kind of more about a rhythm, that you breathe it, you're willing to experience it slowly and notice the rhythm. And I think it's something we can do much more than we think. It doesn't have to be necessarily announced and invited like that, because it really just is that you experience it a certain way. You find a certain pulse in what's going on, and saying something as if it was sacred sort of makes it so. It's not that it has to be extremely deep and clever. It might be something quite ordinary, but by giving it that kind of attention and breathing it and sharing it, that somehow makes it something special, which I don't see why we couldn't do more often. I think it brings me to want to create where I just make it special, whether it is or not, and then I think that changes things. So it gave me some of the secrets, which are not all that secret, which is it's really just paying attention, noticing what you feel, notice what is there, look at it with an open mind, feel the rhythm of it. You both feel and see and speak at the same time. So it's making a deeper experience. So I think we're a little richer, a little wiser in how to do that maybe now.
I hear the word failure twice now and not successful. And it's quite a, what's the right word to use here now? It's very interesting for me that when we let go of the plans, it's more flowing. as well. Because it's not, so, you know, the structure is there, the loose out external structure is there for things to happen, but it's not we're trying to control it minute by minute. That we saw the synchronicity happening here, like Eugenia so beautifully shared now as well, when you put it all together, the light and the dark, the doing part and the being part, it just came out naturally. Whereas sometimes we share things in little blocks, there's no connection between them. I think the failure thing is not failure, it's just a different way of things turning out. I personally don't believe in the word failure because of its where it comes from and the way it's connected to achievement, but it's just my personal experience and perspective about it. But it's not a failure. You've created something most beautiful, this natural flow that's happening. So I don't see personally it as a failure. And Fleming, I didn't expect to be on the back of the tow truck today, and I am. I'm sitting there with you. And that's quite an experience. If I'm just using my sensory imagination as well, that I'm there with you guys in the car. That's awesome. That's a nice surprise.
I didn't expect this tow truck ride to be so long. It's going on and on. I thought it was just going to drag us to the entrance to the freeway or something, but it's getting all around, so I'm enjoying it too. It's quite interesting. Now we're passing the river. That's the, what river is it? I'm not sure what river it is, but the what? Adu? Okay. Anyway, it's where it comes out into the Atlantic, I guess. Anyway, I find it interesting too. So what, I mean, we've already gone into some of that. How is this different to do spoken word rather than to just speak or talk? Or how does that change things?
I think it sort of raises the bar on a personal basis, because it's no longer just being heard or responding in a conversational frame. It's a projection. It's sort of a real publication and making express and explicit self on a higher level. And that's what I was sort of thinking about and sitting in the middle of, like, what has been the difference here in this? Number one, you creating the opportunity, which is hugely appreciated. Number two, my stepping up and into it, which, I mean, back in a past life, I had acting and theater stuff, but it's been a long time. And I certainly haven't ever read my poetry that way, so out loud. So that was a really interesting energy experience for me. And thank you for creating the vehicle and opportunity.
I thought it was pretty cool too. I was wondering, I wasn't sure if it was going to be like too much pressure to ask people to do that, or maybe you're the only people who showed up who could handle the pressure. I don't know, or if it scared anybody away, but I think it's a good type of pressure to invite people to speak as if it actually counts or as if it actually means something, which it does. So I think I'll look for ways of inviting that in other ways. Any other concluding, summarizing remarks from any of you?
Well, I would say that it very much accomplished the objective in a way, in that what I loved is, if we go back to our quest, how we are all on our different quests, but we bring things to our table, to our conversation. And there's something lovely in that we connect deeply with each other's words that we brought. And it doesn't diminish our own words. And we don't feel the need to do anything except really enjoy it, maybe reflect on it slightly. But it just felt like it's okay for us to come from all these different areas. But really, we are pretty much in the same fabric, weaving these things together. So I'm really enjoying that aspect. So thank you all.
Well, thank you. I think that's probably a good point to stop. I think my tow truck is probably going to dump me down from my up high vantage point here in a moment, and I probably need to deal with something. But it has been lovely. Thank you for accepting the invitation and showing up and being yourself and sharing some deep spoken words with all of us. So see you all again soon, and thank you and goodbye.
Thank you, Fleming. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Lots of love.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.